Hello guys, welcome to Talking News. Chasing a murderer, and we have an update right now on the Lori Vallow case, and it's on Chad Daybell. Before we get started, please subscribe and like. So as we speak, at this moment, at least at 10 a.m. June 9th, 2020, investigators are scouring the home of Chad Daybell. Yes, Chad Daybell's house has been searched before, but it just seems they might have found something new. Nobody's been arrested as of right now. But according to East Idaho News, Nate Eaton, he's the one that's doing all these great interviews that's attached to this case. They arrived at his home at around 7 a.m. They blocked off roads. They put the media behind ropes, so media is not allowed to come anywhere near the area. We heard something about Chad was making a few trips to the dump. He was getting rid of old furniture and other things. His new wife, Lori Daybell, is still behind bars. Lee and JJ, her children, are still missing. Since Lori has been behind bars, she's had a few of her friends come forward and speak, including her niece, Melanie Gibb. Shockingly, Melanie Boudreau still has, or she's Woski now, right? Still has her new husband by her side. He's being very supportive of her, even though the evidence is quite overwhelming. I know some of this evidence and stories that are coming out with this case is kind of, false, but you can't deny that some of it is definitely fact. It's just a matter of proving it and get enough evidence to put people behind bars. So this is what they're doing at Chad Daybell's house today. This is in Salem, Idaho. So I would be curious to know what was their, the probable cause to take action and get a second warrant. Because we did have Melanie Gibb come forward and share some information. We're not sure, exactly what she shared, or if she decided to share something new, or if there was a new tip or just new evidence collected in the case. So Tylee and JJ remain unseen. We don't know where they're at. There is no evidence to say whether or not they are okay or not okay. According to Lori's mother and sister, so her mother is Janice, her sister is Summer, they believe that Lori wouldn't harm her children. That just isn't something they think she would do. While other people believe that there's a possibility that the children were harmed, and that's because she said JJ was a zombie. The last person that she claimed was a zombie was her husband, Charles Vallow, and he's no longer here. He was shot in self-defense by Alex Cox, so he says. But research shows that Charles Vallow never ever showed a violent bone in his body. But Alex Cox has had other people he attacked. So definitely draws up some question marks and makes you think that possibly, something could have happened to the children. Part of that reason that they are thinking about that too is the fact that Alex Cox was seen at Yellowstone with Lori and her children. One of the last images of Tylee. So Tylee is definitely a concern because no one really has any information on Tylee. They're not sharing anything. No one's seen her. No one's heard from her. And she was last seen with her uncle, who has done some pretty crazy things. But on a video I'm working on, we can kind of question a few of those things that Alex Cox is accused of and compare them to some of the things we know about him. Been working on that video and it's coming along. I'm starting to get it going finally. Now all these people that are tied to this case say that they have visions of the future or they have visions of events, but none of them have seemed to be very helpful in this case. I keep hoping that all these people that claim to have all these visions might come forth and actually help the police and investigators, but Nothing so far. One of those visionaries is Julie Rowe, but she seems to have all these visions, but none of them have been quite helpful yet, and I tried to reach out to her, but got no response. A lot of people are saying, if these guys can have visions, then why aren't they coming forth and sharing the information they know? So what we did learn was Lori Vallow was absolutely drawn to Chad Daybell, and this is because of the visions, his ability to speak with spirits, and the books that he's written. And now what we're hearing is Lori also claims to be some type of visionary. Lori too is speaking with the spirits, which they call behind the veil. And kind of ironically, they were going to the temple to speak to these spirits. And when they come out from speaking to these spirits, they say these spirits tell them to do things and take certain steps. And the steps that they're taking don't seem to be very good. Not a godly example, you would think. So we have heard also that Lori mentioned that, Chad was, if he was Satan, he's a good one. That coming from one of Lori's good friends, or best friends, Melanie Gibb, who was also involved with this group for a period of time. Just recently, she did an interview with Nate Eaton for East Idaho News, and the interview was it was a good interview. I enjoyed watching it. I watched all 3 parts. Thumbs up, Nate. We actually did get some useful information out of that interview. So when you compare it to, other interviews, take the timeline, start working on it again, you'll find out that some of this stuff just doesn't add up. So right now, the investigators are working hard to bring justice for Chad Daybell's wife, Tammy Daybell, because a lot of people believe that something fishy was going on with how she passed away. And again, I want to mention I'm working on that video right now in detail of what happened to Tammy Daybell. I think you're going to like that. So I couldn't imagine, you got Chad, he's back in Idaho. His new wife is behind bars. She can't get out. Nobody trusts her to let her, post a bond. So she hasn't gotten out. And the reason for this is she has a history of defying court orders. She also took off in the middle of an investigation when they were concerned about her children. They asked her to produce the children. She wouldn't tell them anything. She left the mainland, flew to Hawaii with her soon-to-be husband, and on November 5th, married Chad Daybell. We heard from Melanie Gibb that they actually did marry in the temple behind the back of the priest and Mormons. They were married through spirits that were behind the veil. But for some reason, they flew to Hawaii to do a ceremony. The problem is there was nobody there at that ceremony. It's just her and Chad, and so no kids. And at that point, nobody has seen or know where the kids are. Sorry, guys. As far as we know, that's what they're telling us. So in this next video, we're going to cover that too. Where could the kids be? So what do we expect them to find in Chad Daybell's home, especially since there's chances he's pretty much cleaned the place up? Maybe it's for something that's happened recently. We don't know, and hopefully, we'll find out something soon. We have been waiting on his wife's autopsy for, a long time now, since December of 2019. And so we know that they're being very careful. They're making sure they're checking everything that they can, making sure that they get justice and that they cover, the entire case, because Lord knows they didn't do a very good job at the beginning. I believe the investigators involved right now are determined to find answers, especially for the children and Tammy. So Alex Cox, which is Lori's brother, has been accused of several things, and he has tased Lori's 3rd husband, shot Lori's 4th husband. He is accused of trying to shoot Lori Vallow's niece's estranged husband, Brandon Boudreaux, and there's a possibility that he actually was there with a gun. He pulled the trigger, according to Tammy Daybell, But they really couldn't prove that one, but they're suspecting that it was him. And then in December, Alex Cox dies mysteriously. And of course it was questionable, but I think most people realize that it wasn't attached to this case, that it's probably stress or something that brought on whatever happened to him, because he wasn't young. And it turned out after they did the autopsy and people were waiting, a lot of people felt that he might have been taken out himself. But they did the autopsy report only to find out that it was what the family suspected all along, which it had to do with a factor V blood disorder, and that's where people clot. And so he had a embolism, or a clot in his lung. He was actually showing signs that he wasn't feeling well about a week before he passed away. So in the next video, we'll cover more details on that, as well as his marriage to Zulema. So guys, just be looking for that video to come up probably in the next few days. The videos that I do is not where I just sit in front of a camera and talk. It's much easier that way. I actually add loads of pictures and details, so it takes a bit. I know one thing's for certain is I am very adamant about finding everything we can in this case. I usually won't move on until I come to a dead end to where I can't find any more evidence. But this case, every day that I work it, there's new evidence, new information. It's just all the time. There's just so much in this case. Because the reason for this is this has been brewing for years and nobody really caught on to it. So there's just tons of information to look at because there were so many sketchy things going on for so long. So a lot of people feel that Chad Daybell might be the reason for Lori going off on the deep end. They feel that he might have taken advantage of her using his gifts to do so. We do know that they were trying to gather up a group of people, and they were trying to gather into one spot, and they were trying to do it together. So I'm looking forward to what police find in this search of Chad Daybell's home today. What do you think they're searching for, guys? Type it in comments below. So right now, numerous police officers are at his house executing this warrant. The first warrant that they did, they walked out there with 43 items. That was on January 3rd of 2020. You could see police officers, investigators using metal detectors and probes. They were using rakes and going over. There were several parts of the yard they were investigating, while others were inside the home collecting some items. So right now, they're being investigated for conspiracy, attempted murder, and murder connection to the death of Chad Daybell's former wife, Tammy Daybell. So just to be sure I shared everything I wanted to, Chad Daybell's home is being searched. So this is with Fremont County, Idaho, and the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, the deputies, the Rexburg police officers, FBI, they're all working together going through the home of the former Tammy Daybell. According to Idaho News, the warrant from Rexburg Police Department is sealed. It is not known what information officers are trying to obtain. And so they've shut down numerous roads around the Daybell home, and the media is being asked to remain in the staging area. So far, at this moment, no one has been taken into custody. According to East Idaho News and Daily Mail, they're saying that this is a photo of police digging what appears to be a well on the property of Chad Daybell. But because the warrant is sealed, they just don't have any clue what they're looking for or why. But in my experience, and this isn't for sure, I'm going to guess that most likely they must have gotten a tip. So what the well has to do with everything that's going on is going to be interesting to find out later on. What's concerning is, are they looking for evidence or are they looking for people? So that is kind of a depressing thought. Of course, we don't know what they're looking for. It could just be something like a bottle for all we know. But it's all that not knowing that is kind of fueling the speculation and bringing those kind of sad thoughts to your mind. Because my hope is this. I believe that there's a chance that the children are still okay. And I'm hoping that they're able to do the right thing. And because Tylee's smart. If she's out there and she catches some of this news and stuff, she's going to be confused. But all she needs to know that it would be a lot easier if she at least called in a tip and said, look, I'm here, I'm okay, you can stop looking. Doesn't mean she has to turn herself in or JJ, just at least tell somebody she's okay. Anyways, guys, that's all I have time to do today. I'm hoping we hear a little bit more on what they're searching for and why, but something tells me most likely we're not going to hear for a little while. I want to say, I forgot to say this, but I'm pretty proud of Melanie Gibb for coming forward and sharing the story. It took a lot of courage for her to do that. Although we know that for a portion of time she seemed to be wrapped up in that, but at least she was smart enough to wake up and actually try to help find the missing children. So good job, Melanie Gibb. Got the hiccups, sorry guys. Melanie Gibb for helping investigators out. That was very brave of you. Now let's hope that the rest of them can come forward, and if Chad was smart he would do the same, but after seeing surveillance footage it makes you wonder. Okay guys, so right now investigators expect to be there searching the area for a few more hours. So that's pretty much all I really got for you guys. We're hoping the best. We're hoping these children are found. We hope there's justice and the truth comes out. And so guys, I want to say thanks so much for watching and caring. And I love you guys. And I'll see you guys soon.